I'd like to thank our reader, Robin Vi Carpenter Briscoe, and of course, the wonderful music by Gary Lynn Floyd and by our CSL music team. We are so fortunate to have such great musicians. We're continuing our October series of Fall into the All, knowing how to truly relax into the arms of the divine and feel renewed. And today our message is soul searching. The dictionary defines soul searching as an examination of one's consciousness, especially with regard to motives and values. So as we fall into the all, it's especially important that we are being truly who we are and having our actions be in alignment with our values. If we want to truly fall into the all and be renewed, we must be authentically who we are, warts and all. And I find it fascinating that when my actions are consistent with who I have come here to be, that I always feel relaxed and content and joyful. So just for a moment, let's consider those fall flowers. Do you think that a mom spends any time wishing that it was a petunia? I bet not. I have no way of proving that. But plants don't spend their time attempting to be something that they're not. And consequently, they have no need for soul searching. They never get lost around who they are. They stay in alignment with their purpose and who they're meant to be. And they daily show up in their own full, beautiful glory. That's food for thought now, isn't it? And of course, more food for thought is the question for the week. What is that one choice that you can make today to diligently and consciously be aware that the truer you are to who you are, the closer you are to the dream that you carry inside of you? One more time. What is the one choice you can make today to be diligently and consciously aware that the truer you are to who you are, the closer you are to the dream you carry inside of you? Humans, with all our intelligence, have not always used our intelligence wisely. Often, unlike the mums and the petunias, for whatever the reason, we have a need to attempt to be someone else rather than staying on our own path of destiny. The dictionary defines soul as the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being or animal, regarded as immortal. An alternate definition is emotional or intellectual energy or intensity. The definition of searching is looking or seeking carefully to find something. So is soul searching looking for our spiritual souls? I know that I constantly seem to be seeking that part of me. Soul searching is a thing because we humans are frequently looking to find that part of us that is immortal, that part of us that lives throughout time, that emotional or intellectual energy or intensity. Yet, we only search for things that we deem lost, and I rather doubt that any of our souls are really lost. Sure, they may be hiding out somewhere because they've been neglected or we've been having ingenuine behavior, or perhaps for some other reason, but I don't think they're lost. Unlike plants and flowers, humans often seek to be something we're not. And it's for a variety of reasons: wealth, attention, a need to feel worthy, to be acknowledged. Ernest Holmes, in Creative Living, wrote this: every man is, in a sense, alone in the integrity of his own soul. No one can give to him but himself, and no one can take from him but himself. Under the great law of God, there is no law to him but his own soul shall set it. Do not two people view the same scene, and one find it beauty, and the other ugliness? Now, those are some words of wisdoms. No one can give or take from us but ourselves. Yet it seems we so often try to be someone else out of admiration or desire to have what they have, perhaps. Yet ultimately, the need to be someone else is our need to be loved, which is the real thing that we're all seeking, is it not? Seeking or pretending to be someone we are not never ends up well. Think about that for a minute. Why do you think that's so? If we're loved when we're pretending to be someone we're not, somewhere deep within us, we know that the love is not really for us. Relationship built on lies, however small the lies might be, are not genuine, and therefore are of little value to our soul. Soul seeking is as unique to us as we are to the world. What is common to most soul searching is that it is about taking time to reflect on what we really want to be doing with our lives and who we really want to be. It's about discovering how we really want to live, and typically involves an in-depth, honest examination and assessment of our motivations, our beliefs, our values, and our emotions regarding life. We often begin soul searching because we're seeking a deeper meaning in our life. Perhaps we find ourselves discontent with some current state of our being. Perhaps we feel unmotivated or unsure if we're on the right path. Discontent with a relationship, or wondering if we're living our lives right. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his Emerson essay, the one called The Oversoul, wrote this: within man is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. Soul searching is a dive into the deepest crevices of our being, attempting to understand who we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that we can begin to live a life that's consistently filled with purpose, what I call living on purpose. Soul searching is definitely not playing in the shallow end of the pool. It requires us to dive deep into that deep end, to tread water for a while, and effectively learn to sink or swim. Because God is always right where we are, as Gary's song stated in the meditation, we don't need to be afraid. We can be lifted up while we're searching, and there truly is no risk of sinking unless we abandon that divine ship that's beneath us. And what's wonderful about that divine ship is that it provides places from which we can see for miles and miles into our own being. There was a priest and a rabbi and a Buddhist monk that were walking along together, taking a stroll and talking about philosophy, and their conversation turned to miracles. Well, the Buddhist monk said, we don't really believe so much in miracles as we believe in expanding our consciousness and seeing things from a different light. Well, as it happens, they continued this conversation and they came to a river, and the priest said, "Well, what do you think of Jesus walking on water?" And the rabbi said, "Well, I can walk on water." The priest said, "Yes, I can too." And the Buddhist monk was contemplating that when the priest walked across the stream to the other side. And the rabbi followed, walking across the stream on top of the water to the other side. So the Buddhist monk thought, okay, I have a lot of faith. And he started to walk across the stream, and he sunk into the river. Well, the priest leaned over to the rabbi and he said, "Do you think we should have told him about the stepping stones?" Do you ever feel like that monk? Like others know secrets that you don't, and they know the secret to greatness and you're being kept in the dark? And you feel perhaps that you're sinking right now? In many places in the science of mind literature, we read that our souls are on a pathway of endless and ever-expanding experience, a journey of awakening to what we've been created to do and created as. And along this pathway, joy and our work is about allowing more and more of our divine nature of God to show up in our life, to let it be revealed in and expressed as us. In other words, part of our spiritual evolution, our soul searching, so to speak, is to allow and become more love, more peace, more joy, more freedom, more of whatever God quality you are looking or seeking, abundance or beauty or bounty or order, power, unity, wholeness, health, wisdom, whatever it might be. And in doing so, we become portals through which the healing energy, the presence and power of spirit enters the world as a great blessing. And in the process, we spiral up to the awareness of God or spirit or life as who we are, not merely as a concept, but as a living reality that we are God. There was a child made totally of salt, and he wanted to know more about his origins and more about where he came from. So he set out on a long journey, and he traveled across many lands, and eventually he came to the ocean. And he looked at the ocean and he thought, how marvelous. Look at all of that water. And the ocean was beckoning to come in. So he put his foot in, and the ocean continued to beckon him. If you want to know who you are, don't be afraid. Come in. So the salt child walked into the ocean and continued walking into the ocean, each step dissolving more and more of his self, until he finally exclaimed, "Oh, now I know who I am." I think that story is great food for thought. Perhaps the salt boy has a point. If we cling too tightly to who we used to be, it's difficult for us to become all that we can be. And I'm sure that each of us has had moments in our lives that we considered turning points. Something happened and we had an epiphany about our life. Perhaps we went searching for the meaning of it, and something happened that allowed us to see things more clearly. For me, it was the time when my son died, and I realized that he lived every moment of his days to the fullest. And when I took a look at my own life, I realized that I was living on autopilot, and I really wasn't living a life that was filled with joy, which is the essence of who I know I am. And that realization really changed me. In A New Design for Living, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "Right now, we are as much of this spiritual reality as ever will be, although we will be continually becoming more aware of it. We are all incarnations of God. God is what we are. God is not lost, neither can we ever be. We never need to prepare to meet our God. We are meeting him every day. But what we do need to do, and what we will always be doing, is to express more and more of his nature through ourselves. This is the endless pathway. This is the immortal and eternal endeavor, the continual upward spiraling of our awareness of God as what we are. A greater knowledge, experience, and expression of God is always our goal, which may and must be ever more fully attained." Do you know your purpose in life? Are you aware of God as who you are? And if not, don't be afraid. God is always with you. If we are indeed meeting God each day and desiring to find out our purpose and express more and more of God's nature through us, how do we go about doing that? There's a story about a frustrated young man, and he went to the wise men in his village and he said, "I don't know what to do about my life. How do I find my purpose?" Well, the wise men said, "Come with me." And they walked together down to a river where they found dozens of prospectors panning for gold. And the wise men said, "You know, there are three types of prospectors." "What do you mean?" the young man said. He said, "Well, there's the strike gold right away type. They strike gold as soon as they start looking for it, and they go in and have a very comfortable life for the rest of their life. And then there's the one who panned for years. They know that there's gold there, and they keep knowing that eventually, if they just persist, they will strike it rich. So they persist in their endeavor until they find the gold that they've been searching for." And the wise men got a little bit quiet. So the young man said, "Well, what about the third type?" He says, "They're the individuals who get frustrated when they haven't found any gold and they give up. It might take a day, a week, a month, even a year, but they give up, they walk away, and they never find gold." The young man is now feeling slightly confused, and he said, "What has this got to do with me finding my purpose?" "Ah, yes," the old man said. Well, there are those in life who find their purpose at a very young age, and they live their entire life finding their dreams and with energy and enthusiasm because they knew who they wanted to be and they made it happen. Some people have to work harder at it. Perhaps it takes them many years to find their purpose, but they persist and they keep looking and they find something to live for. Finally, there are those who want to know their purpose, but they become frustrated when they search and they don't find it soon enough. They give up. So the young man says, "Well, can everyone find their purpose?" The old man said, "Is there gold in the river?" So the young man said, "Well, how do I find my own purpose?" And the wise man said, "Keep looking." "But what if I want to find it quicker?" "Ah," said the wise man, "there are no guarantees that you'll find it quickly. The only guarantee is that if you stop looking, you'll never find it." Well, the young man was beginning to feel a little despondent and feeling that he had wasted his time with his wise man. But the wise man could detect that. So he put his hand on his shoulder and he said, "I can sense your frustration, but let me assure you, if you find your true calling in life, you will live with passion and make the world a better place. You'll be richer than you could ever imagine. And you will feel as though the very face of God himself is smiling upon you." Now, that might happen next week or next year, or maybe even in years to come. But the search is well worth it, and your life will never be the same. So for now, let your purpose be to find your purpose. "Thanks," said the young man. "Oh, and there's one more thing," said the wise man. "What's that?" Just as those men and women need to get down to the river with a pan in order to find their goal, we need to remain active to find our purpose. We can't just sit at home and do nothing. Well, it was starting to get late, so the young man and the wise men were heading back to the village. And as they walked, the young man was quite silent, deep in thought about what he had learned, and the old man smiled to himself, knowing that the conversation with this young man was an important part of his living his own purpose. It's been a long time since I did a Reverend Larry's 11 tips during a service. And so I thought that today's topic was a great one for reviving that particular process. So here you go. Reverend Larry's top 11 soul-searching tips. 1, spend time alone to determine who you are. This sounds easy enough. And if you truly want to learn who you are or who you happen to be beneath all those external forces in your life, it means evaluating how you're feeling and what's important to you. There are so many outside forces. Deep thought is only possible by minimizing distractions and spending time with yourself. So find a place to be alone. Disconnect from social media. Better yet, take a day from any socializing and relax with yourself in the arms of the divine. Truly fall into the all. Number 2, know who you want to be. Once you determine who you are and understand who you want to be and start working towards that vision you have of yourself, life will feel very fulfilling. This is not about doing, it's about being. Being who you came here to be. Working towards one's life purpose is how we find our joy and the bliss and the blessings of life, not to mention that excitement and inspiration. Number 3, experience the world authentically as you. Focus on experiencing life authentically, embodying your own beliefs, your own values, your own view and ways of being. There are many external factors, such as the opinions of others, those that we were taught as we were growing up, which can easily control our decisions and lead us down a road that we never meant to take. When we are authentically being who we are, we have a deeper relationship with others, as well as with ourselves and with the divine. Number 4, do what makes your heart sing. Embrace a passion. Do you love to sing or dance or paint or cook or color or journal? What focus of experiencing the authentic you have you put aside lately because you thought it might feel like wasting time? I read something lately that if you're enjoying what you consider to be wasting time, it's not wasting time. Doing something you love to do and making it a regular part of your day deepens your message to the world about who you are. And it also sets an examples for other people to be who they are and to let their own selves be expressed. Number 5, focus on joy, freedom, or whatever your God quality happens to be. We all know that expression, what goes around comes around. Well, in our philosophy, the expression is what we focus on, we get more of, or what you give, you receive, multiplied abundantly. Joy, love, peace, and happiness return to those people that are joyful and loving and peaceful and happy. Sure, we all have negative thoughts from time to time. Process them quickly and then release them so that you can stay in your own freedom or joy or love or happiness or whatever your God quality is. 6, be persistent. Life is a journey, not a destination. No matter how difficult or wonderful today is, we know that this too shall pass. Both the not so wonderful and the wonderful. Whatever is happening now, what we can count on is change. The moment passes to the next. So live in the present. And as the wise man in our story recommended, be persistent in seeking what it is you're seeking. Number 7, seek to inspire and be inspired. One of the surest ways to find happiness each day is to look for inspiration every day. Be diligent about finding beauty in the world, or about letting experiences move you, about understanding the ever-changing world that we live in and the uniqueness of every moment. If you can do that, each day will feel special and meaningful and joy-inspiring. Number 8, take care of you. Achieve balance. While it's easy to romanticize pouring yourself into one aspect of life, peace and contentment is achieved by finding balance between the many facets of your life. Balance cuts down on burnout, it increases inspiration, and it keeps you from putting all your eggs in that one basket. Number 9, focus on what you can control. You can really only control you. Accepting that there are things in life outside of your control alleviates a lot of anxiety and worry. When we place our energy into recognizing that challenges are either a lesson or a call for love, we maintain the balance we build up during our good times. Trying and failing to control others is truly a waste of energy. Number 10, adopt or continue spiritual practices. Spiritual practices can awaken parts of us which we may or may not know exist. And the practices vary quite widely. Yet all spiritual practices are for the purpose of connecting you to your higher self. Forgiveness, for example, is a spiritual practice that increases your being able to step outside of being the jailer to somebody that you're not forgiving, and feeling more free. Learning to forgive ourselves and others and to forgive the forces beyond our control carves more space in our life for happiness. And I want to tell you, if there's any lack of abundance in your life, that Edwin Gaines, who's a marvelous mystical teacher, says that the way to become debt-free is through forgiveness. So exploring different spiritual practices encourages you to find out ways to connect with your soul so that your actions and your values are in alignment. And last but not least, certainly not least, 11, find partners for support. You know, humans by nature are in relationship with other humans. So if we can find like-minded people who support our values and our beliefs, we can nurture our soul, get closer to living as our authentic self. New relationships are great because we get to see ourselves through different eyes. But relationships, new or old, can be a way to enrich our day-to-day lives. Do you know that studies show that people who have meaning relationships with others have elevated moods and better health? That in alone should be a reason to find partners to support you. Relationships you care about provide a constant source of connection, a support system for when you have things getting tough in your life, and more acute understanding of yourself. It's always great to look at our lives through the eyes of other people. So, begin to think about how you're feeling day to day. What parts of your soul feel satisfied? And where might you have room to grow? Consider your core values and how closely your actions are in alignment with them. And one final comment. Soul searching isn't just an evaluation of your internal self. It's also an evaluation of how you're relating to the world, to, as Emerson said in that earlier quote, to that eternal one. So here's a few questions for you to ponder. What might I like to achieve? And who do I want to be in this world? How does my everyday life support or diminish my values, my motivations, and my authentic self? Are my relationships helping me grow into the person I want to be? How can I authentically represent myself each day? Once you've answered those questions about your life, consider how you can better align your daily practices to your soul's purpose. So in summary, how might you learn your true soul's purpose so you can truly fall into the all? Remember, plants and trees don't envy each other. Why try to be something you're not? Be you. Take time to reflect on who you are. Play in the deep end of the pool, knowing that the divine ship is beneath you, holding you up. Embrace the journey to awakening. Allow that salt child in you to dissolve into that infinite ocean of possibilities. And engage in an endless and ever-expanding self-evaluation. And practice my 11 tips for soul searching. By the way, you can pick up a copy of those tips on our website homepage at cslsoutheastla.org. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so easily and willingly make the choice today to be diligently and consciously aware that the truer I am to who I am, the closer I am to the dream I carry inside of me. And your challenge for the week is to challenge yourself to awaken more deeply to that endless, ever-expanding journey of your soul. And I invite you to check in a couple times a day to see how you're doing. And if your day is supporting or diminishing your values, your motivation, and your authenticity. You'll be happy to know that Gary gifted us an extra song this week, so I'm making it our closing prayer because it has a beautiful message. Relax and enjoy it. It's called God in Everyone.
Everything beneath the sun breathes like a harmonium. Pure perfection has begun, shining like a midnight sun. Out of darkness I have come, I see God in everyone. Let me be an instrument, guided by and heaven sent. May these grapes of pain ferment, alchemize to love's content. Ever be a sacrament, knowing God is my intent. God, let me know your name. Hold me in the same breath as your word. Oh God, I feel you all around. Oh, how you astound me with your grace. Rolling like a thundercloud, let me live my love out loud. Standing for mankind and proud, baptized in a holy shroud. Peace be still and know me now, God is in all I have found. God, let me know your name. Hold me in the same breath as your word. Oh God, I feel you all around. Oh, how you astound me with your grace. Spinning like a prayer feels turning like Ezekiel's wheels. Nothing like a kiss seals this spirit I've become. Knowing what I'm here for, rowing on to distant shores, flowing from the infinite, God in everyone. Oh, spinning like a craft wheels, turning like Ezekiel's wheels. Nothing like a kiss seals this spirit I've become. Knowing what I'm here for, rowing on to distant shores, flowing from the infinite, God in everyone. Out of darkness I have come, I see God in everyone.
Such a beautiful way to end, and so it is. I want to thank everyone that's been donating to our community. I love that we are continuing to be supported and staying here available to be able to do these messages every week, to connect after our service. And we are still looking for a computer, so if you would like to make a special donation to the computer fund, just write computer fund on your check or wherever you donate, or send a little email to me and I'll know that your contribution is going to that purpose. Thanks again, and enjoy our offertory song.